think so, yeah.
Oh, man.
That's the first thing I noticed when I flew into Palm Springs in the 90s. When I looked out of the airplane, you see everybody has a pool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
That's like in same thing in Florida. You fly over Florida, everybody's got a pool.
Everybody got a pool. Is that right? Wow.
Well, here we don't have to, you know, put a cage around the pool.
Yeah, here you do. Yeah. Everybody's irresponsible down here.
Right.
Can't keep.
Is Ian joining in?
I don't know. I just sent him a text. He said it was possible he could join us. So I just sent him a text to see if he's coming or not. I think it said his wife was having surgery or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was anything bad. But I know
So
he's back.
I look forward to today, you know, because I watched quite a few Olympia previews.
Right.
And I was just in utter shock, you know, on top of the guy's head, how many athletes they leave out, you know, where they just forget about them. There's so many of them, yeah.
There's too many.
So I was watching a podcast with Milos and Jay Cutler, and it was nice. It was great. You know, they obviously have another knowledge. And in an hour and 30 minutes, Ian Voyer never came up.
Wow.
Who was 7th at the Olympia last year and won a show in Vancouver. And I'm sure
a lot of people don't talk about him for some reason. I don't know why, because he's definitely a threat.
I've never heard his name come up in any of the podcasts that I saw.
He improved, and the first time his coach is with him in Vegas for 2 weeks. You know, so we'll see. But it's amazing when I go through this list. You know, 36 qualified. I mean, obviously, some of them will not compete. You know, we know already. When you look at the list here, Nathan Diasha is not competing. Sean Clarida is in the 212. Regan Grimes is not competing. And then I saw today a guy from Iran can't get a visa.
Right.
But it's very, very, very sad. And the rest of the list, there's the few I don't know. But I was going through the list of people I know are hoping or expecting to be in the top 10. And that's 20 people.
Wow. Wow.
Is that the Baruz guy you're talking about that's not coming?
See,
I think his first name is Baruz.
Milos is his coach, and he just made a posting, so I can check on that.
Yeah, my Instagram is down right now, so I can't pull it up.
His name is Baruz Stavani, correct?
Yeah, Baruz Abergani.
Yeah. I mean, not that he would have
common spelling.
Huh?
It says it's Baruz Abagani, common spelling.
Yeah, but let me see. It's going on there. IFBB Pro Baruz, Behrooz. The guy's looking. I mean, the Iranians are always hard like rocks. I mean, those guys are just incredible how hard they are. But he is the very last one I've seen on the qualified list, and I think there's even one guy missing. The guy who won in Romania, or no, that's Mohamed Al-Noor, I believe. The guy was absolutely incredible too. But let's go to the list of people who I know they really expect to be in the top 20. And there's 20 people. I mean, that's of course Nick Walker, Rami, Brandon Curry, Hadi, Hunter, and then we have Dauda, Rafael Brandeo.
I got the list here.
Then we have Bonac for sure, Blessing, Charles Griffin, Mohamed Shaban, who I think placed 10 last year, Ian Voyer, Akeem, who was 9 last year. Wow. Then we have Andrew, who sure expects to be in top 10, Derek Lunsford, Tonio Burton. I mean, you know, it's kind of a tight one on that list, but he won a show recently and he improved tremendously. I'm sure he is hoping for the top 10. James Hollingshead was like 12, 13 last year. I'm sure Criso expects to be in it, like Justin Rodriguez as well, who placed 8th last year. I mean, that's 20 people. So we're going to have a lot of people being very disappointed, coming off stage next Friday.
It's definitely it's a good lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Incredible.
Phil, I mean, I heard one guy saying something really great. This is one guy said in a preview, if everything goes normal, Rami will win. The rest, I have no fucking clue, and I will be the only one right at the end.
Right. You know what? That's what I have on paper right here.
Yeah, that's a very good one. But I'll be interested, since you only wanted to kind of go into the top 6 on your list. What are your top 6?
Well, I went to the top 10 on my list. I've got Rami winning. Okay, that's no debate right there.
Okay.
Second, depending on the condition of these guys, the judges are going to have a whole lot of work to do in a short amount of time. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I've got, not in any particular order, my top 6 is Curry, Bonac, Hadi, Walker, and Labrada. All right, these are the outsiders that could break into the top 6 or the top 5 with Rami winning. I've got Andrew, Lunsford, Griffin, and Crizzo.
Andrew, Lunsford,
Griffin, who looks incredible lately, and Crizzo.
All right. The first 6 that's a safe pick. I mean, that's the same guys as last year.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue against any of them.
Right.
Absolutely. Although, I think Labrada has to come in heavily improved when it comes to conditioning.
Yes, 100%.
Or he might fall out of the top 10.
Exactly, 100%.
So I cannot see a Labrada in any kind of shape like last year beating an Andrew, a Lunsford, or a Crizzo.
Agree.
Now, Crizzo, I don't know if you guys seen the recent postings. I mean, he was, I think, in my opinion, a disappointment the way he qualified. He was not great when he qualified in Prague. He was posing was all over the place. He was sweating. His midsection was not under control. But now, when you look at the recent pictures in the last few days, I mean, the guy is so dry. Yeah. Now, I mean, we all know chronically how many people will overload, as always, and are way drier and better Wednesday before the show. But assuming he brings this kind of dryness to the show, I have him, I think, in the top 6 and Labrada out.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Nick, I still, Nick, I've seen a posting where he posted his current physique with how he looked around the same time last year. I never, ever seen a guy in a short time changing his structure that much. I mean, he is really, if Instagram is not misleading us here, his midsection is so much smaller than last year. And he has equal size with a slight improved outer sweep on the legs. So if that's not misleading and he keeps the size I expect from him, they're going to have to move him up into 3, 4. But, it could also be that at the end, he's going to be not so impressive anymore. That was his game, being impressive and being a monster. So I'm a little bit worried about that part, but he has a great coach as well. And I think the only one I would right now bet is going to be 100% right on in top shape is Bonac.
Yeah.
I never seen him miss. The only miss he ever had in the past was having his legs a little bit downsized, which is not the case anymore. But condition-wise, I never seen him off ever.
No, he's always on.
Yeah. And last year he was only 6 because of the downsized legs, not because of conditioning. And I've seen him moving up tremendously from last year. Then how can you bet against Curry? I mean, Curry, look at his last 3 years. 2019 Olympia, 2020 second, 2021 second, winning 2 Arnold's Classic in the meantime. How can you bet him being out of the top 3? Then we have Hadi. I did notice something with Hardy I think they have to correct. I noticed in the last couple of years that he got more and more impressive during prejudging. And they cannot do that anymore. You know, he has to be, as the way he left stage last year, he has to like that walk on stage. Now we have 4 guys here, Rami, Curry, Bonac, Hardy, plus Walker. I mean, I'm really, this is going to be good. This is going to be one of the best Olympias ever.
Gonna be tough.
You know, that, assuming Rami wins, there is going to be, like I say, a lot of disappointed folks up there. Yeah, you know.
Absolutely.
As somebody
then-
said, is Rami over 300 pounds right now?
315, I believe.
Yeah, supposedly, yes.
Is that heavier than last year?
I'm not sure. Last year he was not in great shape, so I don't know what.
Yeah.
I might be more curious what his weight was in 2000 when he won. You know, in 2020. But yeah, it's just he has. When you look at him and his structure, he is the only one who can be 95% and win in this lineup here.
Right. Right.
You know, nobody else can afford that. And you know what I'm very curious about? Lunsford. There's nothing really saying from what I see right now that Lunsford can't win. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is his whole life, or since I'm watching him, which started about 2018, 19, he was always the big guy on stage. You know, in the light heavyweight at the USA, he was always, he looked like 10 pounds heavier than anybody else. The same in the 212 category. You know, I mean, he was probably always a guy who came in with 211.9 and then was loading like crazy and being on stage with 225 or 220. This is going to be the first time where this is not going to happen. You know, where he is the big guy on stage. So it'd be interesting to see him, but nobody beats him from the back, you know.
No.
So yeah, it'd be great.
Very hard to beat from the back.
Our friend Charles.
I was just about to ask you about him.
Yeah. So I'm very impressed by his improvements, you know.
He looks great.
Yeah.
So
Very
I
impressive.
had Milos was bringing him up at the very end, and Milos has absolutely no belief that he could have any chance getting into those top 10 because, you know, he's technically he was not big enough or something like that. I in the past, I didn't pay enough attention to him.
Right.
You know, to know, I know he's better. I know he's bigger and he's harder. And he is definitely a guy, if he wants to move into those top 10, he's going to have to bring the best shape of his life, you know, no question, or he will be out of those top 10.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Then,
Do you think he's, JP, real quick, do you think he's not popular enough?
well, then let's change that this time. At this moment, probably so, yeah. But, yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, I hate to ask that, but it's reality.
That's your problem. That's true.
Mhm.
Popularity is going to have a lot to do with it.
Could be, but I know the head judge, best judge in the world, most fair judge in the world. So he will give him a chance if he deserves one. I'm pretty sure about that. So then I look at this list here. There's a bunch of people I never heard of. What is sad from my part, you know, I'm sure they all deserve to be, you know. We have Hassan Mustafa. I'm a big fan, but it's just from the structure, I don't see any chance he's moving into the top 10.
No.
I don't know who Victor Boff is. Andrea Presti, no chance. Now let's get into Ian Voyer here. So I don't think, when I look at Phil's top 10 list, I don't think there's any chance or very little chance that Griffin will beat Ian Voyer. So if I have to go from what Phil gives me here, I would have to take Griffin out of this and put Voyer definitely into the top 10 here. Now Voyer, he's hard, he's big, you know, but he's different hard, you know, he doesn't have that fine striation. But, you know, I really hope he moves into the top 6. I just love those big guys, you know, although he's more like Cutler hard. You know, I mean, he's not as good as Cutler, obviously, but it's just different. But he's round, he's big, and now his coach posted his legs. I think yesterday.
Yeah.
It almost looks like Mumser with the inside striation on the inner separation of the legs. I never seen that with him, you know. So wow, I mean, really. So please do not overload, guy. No, to go underloaded, you're fine. You guys are so big, you don't have to, you know. I know Ronnie Coleman loaded with 1,000 grams of carbs, but none of you is Ronnie, you know. So forget about that, you know. So
Was Ian dealing with his wife's arrest last Olympia, or was that after that?
I don't know, but you know, he was really off last Olympia and still placed 7th.
Yeah, I think that's right around the time that they were dealing with that arrest down here.
Yeah. And then the show he did this year to qualify, I mean, he won without a problem. I mean, it was so close. Although there was the other Canadian who looked really, really good, Antoine Vaillant. Or Vaillant. But I don't see Antoine, although I've seen him heavily improved again, you know, in the pictures from a week ago, but it's just probably not going to be enough. I wouldn't say not enough. It's probably going to be the competition is just too big, you know, to move in there. Now, another wild card here when it comes to top 10, which I think has one of the best coaches in the game and is improved again, Blessing. You know, are his legs big enough? I'm not sure, but he is improving and he is famous enough, you know.
Yes, so he is. He's becoming more and more famous.
Right.
Yeah. So that's not going to be an issue. One guy who will, I would bet, drop out of the top 10 this year. I just saw him posing at the East Coast Mecca, you know, in Weinberger's gym. Justin Rodriguez. I was very underwhelmed. I think his midsection gotten bigger. I think he has not more size, if less than usual. And I don't see any chance in those last 10 days.
Well, he only qualified with points this year. I don't think he won anything, did he?
Correct.
Yeah.
But he was top 10 last year. Then we have some guys I'm really rooting for. I don't see him in the top 10, but I'm really rooting for them. It's James Hollingshead. I mean, you can just see, you know, when you see him, that guy's a hardworking kind of.
He's a monster.
Blue collar. Yeah, you can just see, and he improved tremendously. You know, the only reason he didn't win his first show, I think it was the Arnolds, and then he went to France a week later. You know, he was slightly off at the Arnolds. Otherwise, he would have been second there easily. You know, behind. Not Blessing, what's his name? Andrew. So I'm rooting for him. And the guy I'm really rooting for is this guy from the Ukraine, Vladislav Sukhoruko. Let me see if I can, that is like Sukhoruka. Ruko, yeah, something like that. The guy is really impressive, but not enough for this lineup here, unfortunately. So if I would now have to put my money down, like I say, I still stick with Rami will win. The rest I have no clue. Other than Curry and Bonek will probably be second and third. So I will go with Rami first, Bonek second, Hardy third, and Curry dropping out of the top 3.
Really?
And this is why. Curry must be 40 now.
Right. He's about 40. He's over 40.
Yeah. It's going to be harder and harder for him to bring something new to the table or surprise us. You know, with the exception of Dexter, that hardly ever happens. You just have to hold on to dear life after 40 and hope you kind of bring the same again. So, you know, his issues are always lower body, especially glutes. I just don't see that being in any way improved. And now you have Bonek and Hardy. Bonek bringing his old legs back. Hardy's legs are absolutely incredible. So I think I have Hardy on 3, Curry on 4. I believe so. Now, I hate to have Walker on 5. I mean, it's just the guy, such a hard worker. He improved his physique. I just don't see him moving up much there. It's just his legs. I always feel like they don't fit with the upper body. Yeah, you can say the same about Rami, but it's a different problem. Rami's legs are too big. You know, that's a little different than having the legs too small. Walker, I still feel like he has to have a little weird, awkward white stand to make his legs work.
Right.
And I just, once you're next to Hardy, I remember that clasp Lebroni pose last year next to Hardy. I mean, Hardy had twice the size legs, you know, twice of Nick's legs. And when I look at the pictures from last year and this year, yes, the outer sweep is slightly better, but it's not big enough to get into those top 4 here. But oh my God, wish I'd be wrong. It's more than possible that he made enough improvements. He comes out and fights with Rami for the top spot, you know, and can let me know that look, I knew you're wrong. You ask. You know.
Well, you know they're going to be compared together. It's
Yeah.
They're going to have to do that.
Yeah, it's like on my first Olympia, they put me right next to Dorian and Nasser. Which was not really a fair comparison in that sense, because they were top 3 and I was more in the region 7, 8, 9. So back in the days, the way it normally would have worked, there would not be a call out between the 1st, 3rd, and 8th or 9th, you know. But I just wanted to see the big guys next to each other.
Yeah.
Andrew checked. That's just another one. You know, he has this crisp freaking hardness from the front. It's just the glutes, hamstrings have to come in way harder, or he might even be closer to 10 than 5.
And he's in his 40s too, right?
I don't know, but
he's close. He's close.
Yeah.
If he's in his 40s, then you know there's fresh 40s and there's not fresh 40s, depending on how long you're grinding.
Right, that's true.
True.
You know,
Right about that. Yeah.
His skin looks not like he's in his. He's doing this for very, very long and he's being in any way worn out or so. So, yeah, he has to be way better from the back, and then who knows? You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Jason?
My list isn't much different. I have I just did the top 6, and I have Rami obviously, Bonac 2nd. I still have Curry 3rd. I have Nick Walker 4th, Hadi 5th, and I have Ian 6th.
Yeah, I hope you're right with Ian.
I think Ian's gonna go. I think he's gonna move up a 1 spot. I think he's gonna go to 6th.
Yeah.
And I know I'm leaving out several good
Lunsford.
guys.
Yeah. Lunsford.
Definitely top 10, obviously, Lunsford.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But,
and what do you think about the recent Krizo pictures?
Which ones?
Krizo.
I don't know if I saw them or not. My Instagram's been down for a few days, so I don't have it right now.
Such a thin skin, and I mean, although you know the pictures are from the front, but he is 100% improved from where he qualified in Prague.
Yeah, of course. You know, I really hope that Charles proves everybody wrong and gets up there. But...
Yeah, me too. I mean, it would be great to have him somewhere in the close to top 6.
Yeah, very possible.
That beautiful guy from Brazil, Rafael Brandeo, I think this is going to be just a number too big for him. I mean, I love his physique, but he's not going to be in the top 10, except if several of the top guys are off, which I'm not really expecting. Shaban, I think he's out of the top 10 this year. And then we have another one here, Akeem Williams.
Right.
He was 6th and 9th. Looked really great when he qualified this year. It wasn't as hard as he should have been.
Right.
Some people wanted what's the guy, the older gentleman who's in the 212, Kamal. I think they wanted Kamal winning. I totally didn't see that. It was just too much of a size difference. But you know, Akeem, you know, he could be one of the big losers here of this. You know, he has to kind of bring something different than he did in the past, as good as he is. I mean, he's a monster, but coming back with even the way he looked when he was 6th, it's not going to be enough. There has to be more striation this time.
Sure.
And I feel sorry that I don't know a lot of those other guys here. You know, this French guy, Theo Legurier, no idea. Leandro Perez. But I will keep an eye open. I will know all of them after this show here. And then Joel Thomas. I don't know if you guys know this guy.
No, there's a few on here I don't really know.
Angel Calderon. I always thought this is a 212 guy, but must be just have a similar name. I don't know who that is. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Kuglo, of course, is not competing, I guess. Huh?
No, he's posting some pictures though where he's shredded, but
yeah,
he didn't qualify.
Well, he was third on the point list, so he would have qualified.
Yeah. I don't know what his how old is he too? He's got to be pushing 40.
Oh yeah, I don't know, but yeah. And he didn't get better in the last 2 years. I mean, more the other way around. But still, I mean, I like his physique. And 2 years ago, I thought he's going to be a constant top 10 for years to come, and that didn't quite work out that way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys went big time into the other categories.
I'm looking at the 212 guys right now.
Yeah,
I think obviously, I think Sean Clarita. I think he's going to take it back this year.
Yeah, I think there's one big wild card here, Keon Pearson.
Keon reminds me of Robbie Robinson and Brian Buchanan type physique.
If he hits that shape, he I don't think he can win. He will win.
Oh, I believe that 100%.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just as good as it gets. It's like a flex wheelless child almost, So
yeah.
It's like, yeah. I mean, that's just
Derek
and
Lunsford. Is he doing open or is he doing 212?
No, he's doing open. He's so big now, you never fit in there anymore.
They still have him on. They have him on the 212 list here.
Oh yeah, he's qualified for the 212 as Mr. Olympia, but no,
David Henry's qualified.
Yeah, he's great, but he's not going to be in it. Maybe somewhere between 6 and 10 if he's really, really great. There's a lot of guys. I looked to some postings today of people who know way more about the 212 category. There's Ahmad Askanjani, it's probably going to be top 6, the big guy from Kuwait. And other than that, I really hope it's going to be a great fight between Clarida and Keon. There's this Peter Molnar. He is qualified, I believe, in the 212 and in the Classic. So I'm pretty sure he's going to go for Classic. The guy is an absolute European superstar. I think he did over 100 shows. He won, he must have won 50 shows during his career. The guy is just, I remember 10 years ago when I saw him the first time, I thought he's going to be the new Mr. Olympia. He was way bigger back then, before Classic even existed. He was European champion heavyweight, or super heavyweight. So now, the downsized version is hard as a rock. He has a good coach. But it's not big enough anymore. It's to win those shows. So 212, I have to kind of watch a little bit closer when I'm there. But I can't really make qualified comments here, other than the Keon and Sean Clarida kind of fight. So I look through the Classic. Like you guys all know, I have not much use for Classic. I call it the junior bodybuilding category. But there's a big but. So I'm doing, I promised really upcoming fast-growing podcast in Germany to keep an eye on the German athletes and then come on the next morning and talk about it. So to my big shock or surprise, I saw that all the Germans are competing in Classic. So I better get my act together.
Yeah, there's a few of them. There's a few of them here. I see that Mike Summerfield and Alexander.
Yeah. I know Urs. He's one of the favorites. Some people think he could be the biggest threat for Chris Bumstead. Then Terence Ruffin, of course, he'll be in the top 3. I love Brion. You know, he's just so consistent. But I would rather probably think he's gonna fall out of the top 3 and Urs moving in. And then there's this Brazilian guy. I can't see his name right now here on the list, which placed, I think, 5th last year, which is absolutely incredible. And size-wise, kind of the closest to Chris Bumstead. And then we have Molnar, which is absolutely, you know, what classics should be. So I have to keep a very close eye on that class and go to the pre-judging. And see what's going on there, you know, with the Germans, and deliver somewhat of a good report there.
What happened? What about Logan Franklin? What happened with him? Wasn't he with Milos for a while?
Yeah, no, he's still with Milos.
Is he? Okay.
He's great, absolute threat for the top 5 too. You know, so yeah, absolutely. Then you know, one guy I really like is Wesley Wissers.
Right. Good physique. Great physique.
The Dutch guy.
Yeah.
He's probably pretty much the closest to Arnold we have these days when it comes to the physique. I don't know. He's probably a little tall. You know, I don't know if he's big enough, but he's great. He's really, really great. And then there is one guy. I want to go back to the 212. So I talked to a friend of mine who owns a gym somewhere in the Midwest. So he told me that, hey, I have this guy here who wants to say hi. He's competing in the 212. I need to quickly check what his name is.
Where's he from?
American. Of course.
Midwest, what state? Do you know?
I don't know right now.
Okay.
Let me see, 212 here. So I looked him up, and I'm like, wow, I don't see any reason why this guy can't win. He's just so talented, so great. Well, maybe I'll find him a little later, but I can't find him right now. So you, Phil, and Jason, gonna look at it in the internet. You're gonna check on the show.
Yeah, I plan on it.
Yeah, try to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. The finals at least.
Men's physique, 72 athletes. I mean, I know a few will not compete. How the hell?
Men's physique, oh shit. No, 70, 75.
75. I mean, I'm almost glad I'm not a judge there.
Right. Yeah. So they're going to have to start some type of elimination rounds in the future.
Oh, absolutely. Otherwise, this is just going to be unfair at some point.
Oh, sure, it's unfair.
I couldn't even tell you any of these guys. I mean,
I have a new friend. I met him at the wedding. His name is Jacob. He owns Global Formula, and he is sponsoring a lot of those physique guys. And I'm amazed how he knows every single one here. And it's like it's amazing how there's like different roles out there of fans and different roles of followers. You know, back in our days, everybody went to those shows to see the Open. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Now you have people, they go for bikini, people they go for physique, and
sure.
You know, and hardly even care about the Open, some of them. I mean, I hope that it will change this year, because this year is so great.
Let's see, there's 14 on the wheelchair Olympia.
Wow.
Yeah, I look forward to see that.
Hopefully Gabriel can win the Olympia, because he won the Arnold, right?
You know, the Arnold, and then but he's close with that guy who won last year.
Harold Kelly.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see those two battle.
Yeah.
I remember I had a very good friend. He was one of the strongest bench presser in the world. He was in the wheelchair. His name was Freddy Battistini, several-time world champion in the wheelchair category. So in Switzerland, he always competed in the Open, you know. So he asked me once if I would go to the gym and train with him. I said, sure, absolutely. So we went to the gym, and then he went out of the chair on on the machine and did the first set. And then I realized after each set, the poor guy, he trains by himself. He has to go back in the chair, drive around the machine, grab the next weight, put it back on. So I started to really see what incredible, what those guys, do in the gym and how difficult it is. Right. Beside many other physical issues they often have, to build this kind of physique. Yeah? Wow. So I'm absolutely amazed when I see those guys now at Olympia and the kind of shape they're in. Yeah, this is just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Man. Everyone to hear some of their stories is amazing. How far they've come. Where a lot of people would have given up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My friend was something else. He was kind of a bad guy, more of a pimp boxer kind of type. He was Swiss champion boxer before he had the accident. He was fighting in a pre-match for Muhammad Ali or Muhammad Ali. When Muhammad Ali came to Switzerland to fight Blin, the European champion, in the, probably in the 60s or 70s. So he was in a pre-fight. So then he was in a car ride with his father on the passenger seat. His father missed a turn, and he rolled out the window into a field. Oh, so he said he was relatively harmless. Harmless. He rolled out of the, and just rolled out this field, and laid on his back, and he knew right away in a second, oh shit, I'm good, but I'm paralyzed.
Really?
Yeah, like the first second, he said, no doubt. There was no like, oh my God, I hope this, So in Switzerland, if you're paralyzed, you go to a different hospital. There's only one paraplegic center, we call it, in Switzerland. So anybody with that kind of injury gets into that center. So as the emergency people arrived, he told them right away, I have to go to the paraplegic center. I'm paralyzed. So it's kind of like, so then, he totally changed. He became an artist. But it was always a little bit of a rough guy. So one day we went to a restaurant and a professional hockey team walked in. Rapperswil Jona, they were a Division A hockey team. And some of the guys from the hockey team made some kind of joke or something, or I don't know, it's a joke flat. He went over to him in his wheelchair and punched the guy out. The guy freaking laying on his back. And I'm like, shit, I'm standing next to it. And of course, the guy couldn't punch back in any way.
Right.
And on the way out, I said to Freddie, Freddie, if you ever pull anything like that on me, I'm just going to go behind you and tip you over. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he was sure a character. Unfortunately, he's a great guy. He died early with 55.
Wow.
That's So what about our friend, Miss Andrea Shaw? Is she going to take her title back?
Oh, 100%, 99%.
Yeah.
I've seen her pictures today, and she just did a photo shoot in Detroit with Bill Dobbins.
Really? Bill Dobbins?
Yeah. Oh,
really?
Yeah, he's still in the game.
He's still going.
He's still going, yeah. I mean, barely, but he's still going.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I see him occasionally.
Phil, who was the photographer with us on stage in LA at the expo?
Well, I wouldn't have a clue.
Was not, we remember when we had this little thing on stage at the expo this year?
John Balick. I'm sorry.
John Balick. Okay.
Yes.
It wasn't Bill Dobbins. So it was.
Yeah, John Balick.
Yeah, so
he was the owner of Iron Man magazine for years.
Yeah,
I used to shoot with him.
Yeah, equally famous to Bill Dobbins. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
they're the great ones, and I was so happy to see that picture today where they shoot together. But although Andrea wasn't, she still had some clothing on, but it's just like that's like Lee Haney in the 80s, in shape. So it's just,
We'll have to have her and Linda Murray back on again.
That would be great. Yeah. And she's making good money. I mean, she won 50 grand plus that monster truck in Phoenix a month ago. And I'm sure she's going to get another 50 grand this weekend. So that's nice little extra change. And not that those women, they really deserve it. Yeah.
Yeah, that Wings of Strength stuff they do. Yeah.
Right.
When what that guy did for female bodybuilding is just absolutely incredible. James Wood, what's his name? Not James Woods. Woods, the organizer of the Olympia, or the owner of the Olympia.
Jake Wood, right?
Jake
Wood.
Yeah, Jake Wood.
I hope to. I should have introduced myself before to him. I've seen him a couple of times, even in Romania 2 years ago, but I just kind of, I don't know why I didn't go over and talk to him, but it's really great what he does. One thing I'm really hoping for this Olympia here, and I remember I talked to Lenda about it on this podcast here, when on the main stage, when you guys compare athletes, drop the freaking black curtain and that's it. Just at least you can lift that curtain up right after, you know, and
in the background,
advertising you want. But this is just ridiculous. It's so annoying, you know.
I agree.
It's hard to see really what's going on when it comes to the details, you know.
I'll tell you what,
that flash lighting too doesn't help.
The first time they had a background like that was at the Swedish Grand Prix in '82, and it was so distracting.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, you need a black background.
JP, do you keep up with Fitness Olympia? I mean, Missy Truscott, obviously, she's popular.
Yeah, not so much. I mean, I look forward to see the performances. I'm so much more into the wellness and bikini. And I mean, you know,
who won last year?
Yeah, she lost last year.
She lost. Jacqueline Baker. Did she win? Is that who won? No.
I do not remember. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. We should know this kind of stuff. But then Missy came back and won the Arnold. So yeah. I mean, she's sure the favorite. So I hope she does well. And you know, my girlfriend of 12, my first girlfriend, we were together for 10, 12 years. She was a fitness world champion. You know, at first, after they broke in new categories away from, so together with female bodybuilding, there was only fitness. There was female bodybuilding and fitness. So you had to do a routine. It was kind of amazing back in those days. You know, where you had those girls who didn't want to look like bodybuilders. They competed in fitness. And some of them couldn't move at all. They were just like, you know, up there like strippers all over the floor. And then you had others like Kelly Ryan or so, who almost made the Olympic gymnastic team for Atlanta, who were doing the flips and all this stuff. So it was very, very, very hard to judge back in those days. I remember there were girls who were winning the bikini round or and then were far behind in the posing round. So they started to kind of get figure as an additional category, which is very easy. Figure, I think with maybe not this year, but last year I watched the show. I watched all those categories Friday, Saturday night. At the very end, I felt like the highest level when it comes to top 10 athletes, where everybody's just freaking great, was figure. You know, with men last year, you know, they were even in the top 10, not everybody was in great shape. And then it just kind of fell, the level fell tremendously after the top 10. But in figure, every single one who walked out was just absolutely freaking incredible. So I look forward to that category. And I'm rooting for Bojana, which I just met recently also at the wedding. I think she's married to Chris Mimes is his name. He's organizing shows all over the world. They're great people. And I don't know how many Olympias she competed in. She was top 10 several times. And that girl really kind of gets it the way it works. You know, she's kind of growing into shape, like Arnold used to do, or Kevin sometimes used to do. You know, she doesn't do an off-season in traditional sense. So a few years ago, every time I saw her during the year, I was kind of disappointed. You know, I said, why do they not push this and that? But now she's years and years in, and it's just more beautiful than ever. You know, she's not. She knows exactly what she's doing, and I think she did the most pro shows of any figure athlete. Still wins shows, smaller shows every year, qualifies for the Olympia, looking more beautiful than ever. But when I saw her at that wedding, she looked like just a well-trained girl, nothing really special, 12, 13 weeks to go. And when you see her now, she is muscle packed and ready and beautiful. Yeah. So
Yeah. See, Maria Diaz is qualified too.
Yep.
So
Yep. But
she's the one that we had on.
Right.
Yeah, we had her on. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's too big in the midsection, in my opinion. Yeah. So I'm sure since she was here, we're rooting for her and hope she looks great. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a Swedish girl, Sweden girl there.
Yeah, there's a. I saw.
Couple Germans, Finland.
Yes, I think they won one in Spain. A young German girl. She's absolutely stunningly great. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see the figure category. I don't know if I can go to the prejudging of those shows because they only allow VIP ticket holders to sit. You know, it's at the expo.
Yeah.
Some of those prejudgings like wellness figure, and I tried that before. If you don't have a seat, you're so far back standing there and see absolutely nothing. You know, so I'm gonna go and see how far off I'm at, but I don't think there's much of a point to sit there, 100 yards back and watching a fitness show.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, you guys are not big into the bikinis. It's another one. It's almost like the Open this year.
I'd like to see Laura Lee win. She won the Arnold, right?
I hope so. I really hope so.
She got second last year. Did she get second?
Yeah, and she won the Arnolds, and it's just hard, This Jennifer, what's her name? Jennifer Dory, who won last year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, speaking of beautiful, that's about as good as it gets. I freaking marry her without knowing her.
Yeah. Janet Leog, she's back. She's
well, I didn't like her comeback.
Mm-hmm.
I think her glutes were really weirdly shaped, almost like there's something fishy going on.
Yeah.
But I just looked at her pictures from 2 weeks ago, and she's tremendously improved since she came back.
Yeah.
And you never count out somebody who won an Olympia before. You never count them out. There's obviously some very special abilities this girl has. So I hope she can get in top 5, but I don't see a big chance for that because when you look at the top 3, Jennifer Dory, Lorelei Chapallo, and then Ashley Kaltwasser, that's going to be very hard. And then there's this new superstar, she's from Argentina. What is her name? She won 8 shows since last Olympia. 8 freaking shows. 8 shows. It's this tiny little girl. It's like 5 foot tall.
What's her name?
Let me see.
I didn't know Aaron Stern qualified. She's qualified.
Yeah, she qualified.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ivana Eskandar.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen her competing here in San Diego, where she lost. She placed second. I mean, lost. There's 50 girls on stage, and she placed second. It's probably the one of 2 shows she didn't win. She lost at the Arnolds against Ashley. Could have gone either way, and then she lost in San Diego. But winning 8 shows going into this, the top 3 really have to watch out, or she will jump right in there. And then we have that girl who beat her in San Diego. I forgot her name right now. And then we have Isa Beccini, which won, I think, 1 Olympia title 4 years ago.
Yes.
With that tiny, tiny, small waist. The only little issue from the front, nobody can beat her. She's unbeatable. She's a genetic freak. The only thing is her glutes could be a little bit rounder. And I don't know. She does train with a friend of mine in Brazil. Johan Schatz.
So you think it'd be her and Laura Lee be going at it, you think?
Laura Lee, Jennifer, it's about the shape of the day. It's going to be between 4 people, I believe, or 5. So there is Laura Lee, Jennifer, Ashley, and Ivana are the top favorites. And then the girl, I think Maureen is her name, who beat Ivana in San Diego, is another one in the top 5. Then you have Isa, who won an Olympic title before, who's unbeatable from the front. And there's another one, I think her name is Ashley, who won shows this year. So that's about those 7 I can think of right now.
Yeah, it's a good lineup.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. Yeah.
I really couldn't tell you much about the women's physique. I don't follow that. I mean, I know Rachel Daniels. That's about the only one I know.
I boycott women's physique.
Yeah.
Sims, the most beautiful athlete the IFBB ever had, the most talented, lost 2 years ago. I never understood. What's her name?
Oh, Natalia?
No, the one who lost 2 years ago, who won like four in a row.
Oh. I can't remember.
I watch her freaking postings every day.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Yeah, she retired right after the Olympia. You know, I mean, I get that the other girl who beat her, the one who won last year, the second time, was a little bit harder. Shanique Grant, I think was her name.
Okay.
Do you guys remember her?
Yeah, I remember if I saw her, but the name doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, that's just when Linda Murray, Lee Haney, and Ronnie Coleman had a threesome and had a child out of the threesome. You know, that's Shanique Grant.
You're probably right.
Yeah, that's Shanique Grant. And I think she won her first Olympian. She was 21, 22.
Wow.
And she wanted to win 10. She always said, I had no doubt that she will win 10. So I think after the third, fourth title, that's my take on it. Of course, Steve would tear my head off listening to me here. So our head judge, I think they got a little bored because she was so superior. And then they let somebody win who is great, but genetically so inferior to her. And Shanique was in great shape. You know, she just wasn't quite as ripped, but you know, how ripped you really have to be, I guess. You have to be very ripped. It's not figure, it's physique. But I didn't see any reason, you know, to take the title away from Shanique. I think what they kind of wanted to do is create some kind of buzz for the category, and Shanique coming back with a vengeance and get her title back, kind of that kind of stuff. Kind of the similar thing they tried to do when Gunther beat Ronnie, you know, which I still disagree up till today. Yeah, Gunther was in better shape that day, but it was in a way disrespecting the Mr. Olympia. Usually as Mr. Olympia, you go to the European Tour, you're in 95%, 90% shape and you win the shows. You know, it's not that, yeah, look, this guy who is far behind you is a little bit better today and he's big too, so let's let him win because it's about today only. You know, but you know, in a sense, it was great that this happened because it created the Ronnie of 2003, which is the biggest monster ever have stepped on stage. So it's like, screw this will never happen again. You know?
Yeah.
But he kind of blew his legs up like a Volkswagen for the next year. So I remember that press conference in 2003 when everybody talked Ronnie is vulnerable. You know, at least the people who didn't see him in the gym before, although Milos, who saw him, you know, a few weeks before being in absolute crazy shape with over 300 pounds, knew it's over. But when Gunther took his shirt off, he says, I'm 300 pounds and I'm here to win. And so, and then Ronnie's like, well, I'm 300 pounds myself. And then Ronnie did a double biceps pose in that tight shirt. I never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. You know, so it was over, game over right there. And also Jay was also very big there, but there was just like,
there was no doubt in it.
No, there wasn't.
Sorry. Well, the final one here is the wellness. You follow that, JP?
Yeah, I absolutely do. So
who's our champion on that?
Yeah, let me go to the names here.
I know Sunny Andrews. She's from Florida.
Yeah, she won a Shoga.
And then who's the?
So that's the big duel is the
Giselle.
It's between three pretty much. It's Angela Borges, who placed second last year. Nunez, who plays third, and then there's the winner. What's her name again? Let me check.
It's not the girl from Brazil, is it?
No, they're all from Brazil.
Wow.
It's not Giselle?
No. Franciella Matos.
Okay, I see her here. Okay.
So, yeah, she was the winner. Angela Borges second, Isabella Nunez third, and then Yorishna fourth.
There's a lot of Brazilians.
Yorishna's the only one not Brazilian here, you know, and I don't know where Sonny Andrews is from. I know she's American, but, you know.
She's from Florida, I think.
Yeah, she's a surgeon or something like that.
Yeah, she's a doctor.
Yeah. So I don't know if Franciella can be beaten, because last year the judges had to make a decision. Angela Borgias is pretty much, it's the ideal when it comes to wellness. You know, I remember she won like once 53 shows in a row. Then the IFB or the NPC took it over. She came over, went to the Olympia, and there is this Franciella girl, which is equally good, but with way, way harder glutes. So I was very interested when the two top girls were standing there at the end, who's going to win. And I knew this is going to show us what the future will be in this category. Do they want those girls to come in rock hard, you know, especially when you look at the separation between glutes and hamstrings? Or is it okay if you have the super classic lines to be just hard? And they went for Franciella, you know, it was super, super hard. And I don't know if Angela can get that hard, because she never was. A lot of people say it's because she has an implant. So if her butt is an implant, then it's sure the best looking implant I've ever seen, you know. So if they go for this super hard thing again, then it will be more between Franciella and Isabella. Then is Yorishna. Yorishna beat Angela this year at the New York Pro, I believe. You know, Angela won the Arnolds, and then Yorishna won the New York Pro. Yorishna is training with Milos and Andy Velcik in Vegas right now. She has a very, very big mouth, and she would love to be the queen of wellness. So it's between those four. I don't think there's anybody else having a remote chance there.
Okay.
I remember Isabella Nunez competed against one of my girls on the very first wellness show in the United States. I don't know if I told the story before. So Isabella was competing for the other federation, won several shows, but then they all had to requalify as a pro when the NPC started. So the promoter of the show in LA invited 3 or 4 Brazilian girls to come compete here. And a month or two before the Honors Classic, where all of those girls tried to go get their pro card, my girl, Zuli was her name, looked really, really great. You know, I was so happy. First wellness show, I broke her in really great. And I didn't know those Brazilian freaks who are wellness pros for 5, 6, 7 years are going to show up there. So I sent Zuli Zuli went to the weigh-in, you know, Friday night, and she sent me this video back. He says, this freak here next to me, and took a picture. This little freak with a little Tom Platz legs, yeah? And I said, "What? Don't tell me this girl is competing there. You know, I thought maybe she's here to kind of inspire people or do a guest posing or something like that." Yeah? She says, "No, she's competing, you know." And then my girl said, "Hey, do you think we can beat her?" And I said, "Listen, Zuli, we're going for number 2." You know?
Just go out there and have fun. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, we're going for number 2. You know, I did not expect that here. So then Isabella won. My girl placed second. Isabella went to the Arnolds and did not win her class, placed second, and had to go for another show to get the pro card. And is now the 3rd best in the world. So yeah, looking forward to see her there.
You got a girl doing the amateur Olympia this year, right?
Yeah, you know, I mean,
how's she look?
The first time in a long time as a coach, I screwed up. I really screwed up.
Really?
2 weeks ago, she went to the Nationals. And I think I told you guys before that she's a little behind. We're trying everything to catch up. So, you know, when somebody is not super hard, you cannot load them.
Right.
Or you create a freaking mess.
Yeah.
So I starved her, and I really thought we kind of moved into that, in the last second, into that right shape, you know, or good enough shape to load her. So then what I did is I asked her to check her ketones every morning, you know, as we went closer and closer to the show. Finally, the day before the loading, I only load girls usually for 1 day. You know, there's very few I load for 2 because their bodies are not big enough. It doesn't take a lot, you know, or they overspill. Finally, the day before loading, she had 4th color ketones. I don't know if you guys know how it works, you know.
No.
It shows when you have ketones in your urine, that means there is no carbs left in the system, and your body is really
keto sticks.
Keto sticks, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was in the 4th color. So I thought, okay, finally. And we were fighting with lowering the fat, lowering even the protein, having no carbs in it. And it just didn't show. So I knew that there's still fat reserves and stuff in the body, or that otherwise it would show. Finally, the day before, 2 days before. So I thought, okay, we can load her normal. She is finally there. The body is depleted, and we can finally load her. But it was misleading, you know. Although she had ketones, she was just not as lean as you should be, you know, in that close to a show. And you know, with this whole thing with online coaching, you can only do this much. You know, I mean, you can see the people in the light, but if the light is a little bit better than it should be, and they look great, or it's just hard to. I remember many times when I see people with my own eyes, and then I think of the video that you sent me a few days or the weeks before, I think, wow, this looks totally different from what I expected. So I gave her a normal loading protocol. I was even got a little bit scared even because she was into 4th ketones. You know, often you get them into the 2nd or 3rd color, but not into the 4th or even 5th. So I gave her in like 30 grams of carbs. Said, okay, start eating 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 12, 3 p.m., and then I check in on you. And then we decide if we load a little bit more 6 and 9 p.m. or if we switch back to protein, you know, for the last couple of meals. So as she started loading, she never really looked any better, but I also, the light wasn't great in the hotel room. So we did the 6, 9, noon, and 3 p.m. meal, very little protein and 30 grams of carbs. It always kind of stayed the same. So I felt like, okay, if I bring in a little bit of a weak diuretic at 2 p.m., it will take care of whatever I can see right now. So at 6 p.m., I had her on video call, and I said to her, so did you pee? You know, usually you put in a half a diuretic and the people start peeing like there's no tomorrow.
Right.
She's like, no, it's just the same. And it shocked me a little bit. So I still gave another meal at 6. At 9 on the video, I saw nothing is working here. You know, she's getting more worse but, you know, I said, okay, let's just do a protein meal only, take another half diuretic. And I'm pretty sure at 4 in the morning when I check in, you will pee so much overnight, this will all be good. Yeah. Forget it. She was already heavily overspilling at that point. And at 4 a.m. when I saw her in the video, she didn't look good at all. And then I made a crucial mistake. You know, I just tried to correct it with another half diuretic, give her a little bit more carbs, because I felt like I can't just leave her totally empty. She has another 7-8 hours to go to the show. And then give her a little more carbs in the morning there. She turned into a freaking water buffalo.
Oh, shit.
You know. So I gotta have a total different approach this next Tuesday with her if I want to make this work. You know, I had once a great bodybuilder who was also very carb sensitive and could hardly load. It's just a little bit different with everybody. So I'm gonna have to get this right. I have a good concept in my head, so hopefully it will work. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully it works out for her.
Yeah. She sure had the best body on stage. What is very makes me sad as a coach, you know. So when they called me after the prejudging, I had no doubt. Worst case scenario, she will not win. She will be the first call out on 3rd or 4th or something like that. So they called me after the prejudging. He says she was in the corner of the 2nd call out.
Oh wow!
Like wow. I said, did they do like 90s call outs with 3 people? No, 8 people per call out. She was in the 2nd call out in the corner. I said, yeah, this can't be. This girl is so good, you know. So then the pictures came out about 2 or 3 hours later, and I just didn't recognize her. I mean, what happened between breakfast and stage with the 2 small cart meals.
Yeah.
I really turned her into a freaking water buffalo there, guy. You know, at
That's
some
what
point-
happened to me the last nationals this year. I was holding a lot of water.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, and you know, once the ship sailed, you can bring in any diuretic you want. It sailed.
Yeah.
It's done. Yeah, there's nothing you
No,
can do.
no, there was nothing I could do about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it won't happen again. So hopefully, I get her to win the amateur Olympia.
There you go. All right, cool.
All right.
Well, that's everything. Now we'll watch the show and then we'll have our post Olympia show, I guess, huh?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
Looking forward to it. So very good.
All right, guys.
All right, buddy. Sounds
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
guys.
much.
All right, everybody have a good evening.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.